Can everybody hear me? Kind of, sort of, in a way. Not as much. There's a volume button somewhere, but we'll just talk extra loud. All right, well, good afternoon, everybody. Hope everybody's having a wonderful start to their fall day. It's a nice brisk day out there, so I'm excited because it's football weather and all that fun. My son turns 2 next week. I can't believe that. So lots of fun. But also, if any of you didn't know, I'm expecting another son here in the end of November. So with that, I've been working on what we call the dad jokes, right? So I have one for you. What do you call a magician without the magic? Ian. Get it? You take away magic and all you're left with is Ian. Oh, that did not hit like I thought it would. Oh, man. All right, well, I got work to do. Jim, you got one for me to save me?
What makes a joke a dad joke?
What makes a joke a dad joke?
No joke. When the punchline is apparent.
When a punchline is up there. All right, that one's way better. All right. See, I'm just trying. Yeah, thank you, Jim. All right. Well, anyways, going back to the regular scheduled program. We, of course, have a pretty full agenda today for you. Do feel free to ask questions. These are the questions that were submitted by your fellow neighbors, or maybe you. And then we also added in a few additions. Most notably, Teresa Jenkins has made it onto the program, which I'm sure this is why the crowd's even larger today. So, without further ado, though, I'll welcome Kathy Johnson up to give a resident council update. Kathy, take it away.
Hello. Hello. Oh, come on. Hello.
Who are you?
I live here. Is this on? Yes. Okay. Full stuff. Employee Appreciation Fund. Probably Mike will be talking about that. You should be getting letters soon about the Employee Appreciation Fund. Our chance to give back to the people who do things for us. And people might wonder why the letters are coming from. Joanne Kauth is the resident who you will be hearing from. She volunteered to write those letters of appeal to the residents this year. So that, I thank Joanne for that. Community Wellness Committee is planning a series of regular monthly presentations under the umbrella of healthy aging. And the kickoff for that will be before this room closes. I don't know a specific date yet, but it will be kicked off by Dr. Mark Eberhage, who is a clinical psychologist who has a relationship with East Castle, and he deals with healthy aging. So that will be the kickoff for a series of regular presentations that we hope you will take part in to learn about how do we do this thing that's happening to us? How do we make the best of it? How do we do it well? And Teresa will talk about the flu shots and the COVID. Yay! The food committee has already gotten started, and they will be working with Majarka and I'm sure Tanya regarding the reopening of the dining room. Hooray, right? Yeah. Yes, we're looking forward to that. The art committee, if you are missing your pictures on your walls, in your hallways, it's because Pat Crump and her committee has been looking at hundreds of paintings, pictures that are here in storage and so forth and in all the hallways, and is evaluating based on their wonderful skills in the art world, evaluating the pictures that are up and saying this one stays, this one is not so good, we'll replace it with something better. So if the picture that you like to look at every day is missing, suddenly is gone, it's because maybe it's going to be reframed, who knows. But if there's a picture that you particularly like that is hanging on the walls, let Pat Crump know, because we may she can make arrangements with either keeping that picture or making it available to you to have. So just wanted to let you know that that's what's going on with the art committee. And if you have comments, questions at all about all of the art that hangs around here, just direct those questions to Pat Crump, and she will answer them for you. The environmental committee, we wanted to talk a little bit about composting. I know some of you do composting, right? Yay! But sometimes people have not been able to find the bin. They go down that hallway and the bin is missing. So I talked to Eric. He said, yeah, somebody has been sometimes moving the bin, but he's trying to work on that. But he told me that there are 4 bins that compost stuff is put in, stuff for composting. And they are emptied at night by the staff at night. The one that's being filled up, when it gets full enough, is emptied into the ones outside, and then picked up every 2 weeks by Compost Crusaders. And he estimates that the amount of stuff that's being put into the composting is about 45 to 50 gallons of food stuff every 2 weeks. I think that's a lot. I think we can probably do more, but I'm glad to see that people are participating in that process. So the resident committee council has been busy. I wanted to let you know though, if you have any suggestions, anything that you're concerned about. Number one, Tyler always has an open door. Do not hesitate to call or go down or
come on in. Come on in.
and talk to him. I have found him wonderful to work with. The other thing would be to talk to somebody that's on the council. So I'm always available. Kathy Johnson, I'm on the list. But we also have, let's see, Larry Kauf, he's here today. Joe Schmidt is also on the council. Barbara Hill. Let's see, who's next? Judy Christofferson. And there's Sandra, she's head of the food committee. And I think that's all that's here today. But don't hesitate to stop us in the hallway. You see us, you think, I've got an idea, or I've got a concern. Let us know, so that we can bring it to the council and talk about it. And any questions or concerns at all that you want to tell me about now? No, you're all happy as clams. Very good. Ann Joyce.
Absentee ballots.
Yes. Thank you.
Last time it was not very efficient. I'm hoping that when they come this time it will be more efficient.
Well, and unfortunately, there's nothing that we can do about that. I mean, that's that's the election commission and their program. And of course, a lot of things have changed. For example, if you do not have, you have to be very careful this year to put your address completely and correctly on your ballot envelope, because nobody is allowed to help make corrections, which they have always done in the past, is to call and say, you don't have you didn't note this or that. So you have to be very careful with it. I will be putting up, if you have any questions about whether or not you're on the schedule to get a absentee ballot, give me a call. I can always look it up for you very quickly on the Election Commission's website, or go ahead and you can check it out on myvotewisconsin.gov. And you can see when your ballot, if you're scheduled to get a ballot, when it is sent out. So it tracks every step in the process of your absentee ballot. Okay, I thank you for reminding me about that, Ann. So I'll be posting some information soon, including what will be on your ballot, so that you have an opportunity to look to see who you want to vote for. Okay, wonderful. Thank you. And now it's Lindsay's turn.
Thank you. Hello, everyone. Happy first day of fall. It's a beautiful, crisp day out there. So for my portion today, I'm just going to be talking briefly about COVID and an update from a community standpoint. Currently, we have no residents in-house with COVID, which is fantastic. We've had a few sprinklings here and there with residents as people get back out into the community and so on, but as of right now, we are doing very well. We have one staff member, as of very recent, who just tested positive. Otherwise, prior to that, we were sitting in a really strong position as well, with just one or two cases sprinkled in here and there. Many of our employees who are testing positive are getting that allergy-like symptoms, and especially going from what seemed like 80 degrees yesterday and humid to no humidity today and waking up and it being in the 50s. That can surely drum up a little cold. And so we want all of you to be cognizant of that. I do know allergies go around, I get them. They're not necessarily diagnosed with what I'm allergic to, but just with changing of the season. And with that, be cognizant of your body and how you're feeling. So if you have a headache or you have congestion, I know the CVS down the street, as well as Walgreens on Brady Street and the CVS on Farwell, across from each other, have rapid COVID tests. So we encourage you to pick some of those up still, because as I'd say the changing months, the cold weather, flu season, as it is the first day of fall, will be amongst us in the coming months. To be aware of your body and test yourself as needed. And then as always, if you are feeling sick, remain in your apartment. Same as we educate our staff to stay home and let us know. And Teresa will follow up on you with what that next process is. But I feel like at this rate now, we're all very well versed in our COVID policies. So, yes.
This morning I was down at the fitness center, we had to leave because they had to sanitize it. There was, they said, a positive case.
Yes. So there is contact tracing being underway as of right now and earlier this morning. The impact and exposure is limited, and those who were directly exposed have been contacted at this time.
So there is a positive.
There is a positive,
You
yes.
said no.
There's a positive, I'm sorry, it's a staff member, not a resident. So, for clarification. Any other questions? No? All right, and then now Teresa.
Star of the show's coming.
That's self-proclaimed.
Good afternoon, everyone. As we all know, Monday, September 26th will be the flu clinic at 9 a.m. right here in Lindsay Hall. Please make sure if you're going to attend the flu clinic, you bring your Medicare cards and your insurance cards. I did place outside of everyone's apartment door a form to fill out. If you have yet to fill that form out, please get that filled out and return to me as soon as possible. If you need help filling that form out for whatever reason, let me know. I have no problem helping you. Flu clinic is going to be done by Walgreens this year. Also, October the 24th, we are going to do a COVID clinic again for the fourth booster. I'm confused at this point. But we are doing a booster, October 24th. We don't have all the preliminaries yet, time, paperwork, and that sort of thing. So that information will be coming soon. If you have any questions. Yes, Mrs. Meyer.
We filled out that nice form and it did ask us for vaccinations plural. I marked on that I was interested in flu and COVID. Will that cover me?
Yeah. But you probably will still have to fill out a different COVID form upon the COVID clinic.
That's
Yeah.
what I was asking.
Yeah. Any other questions? Doesn't have to be flu or COVID related. I'm here, you're here. Anything you want to know? Nothing. Aw,
What's your favorite color, Teresa?
blue. Well, if you don't have any questions, Stacy's next, I think. Stacy, your turn.
Did you bring your agenda?
I thought it was here.
Hi everyone, Stacy here. First resident question is, will there be an artist in residence? We currently will not have a artist in residence. This semester or this year we'll have what they call a SEF. That's S-E-F. So it's not a Sayers, it's a SEF, and that's Story Experience Fellow. And she will be here in the community soon. I know I've been dropping a little bit of hints here and there, letting people know. Her name is Emma, and she actually is going to have lunch and meet Tyler tomorrow with me, and we'll be mapping out what she'll be doing in the community, coming up with ideas that she has, what she's good at. I've talked a little bit with the play reading group. She'll be part of the play reading group coming up on the 14th. But we'll also do a meet and greet with her on October 11th. So if you're around, you'll be able to meet her. We'll be in the club room having some punch and cookies with her. But Emma is really excited to be here. She actually met some of our health center residents and enjoyed an outing with them this morning. Just getting a foot in the door, so you'll be seeing her around. Any questions about the artist or the SEF?
Stacy, when is the meet and greet?
On October 11th.
What time?
Thank you.
What time?
At 1:30. So it'll be in the afternoon. She'll be there. So that was the resident question. And just to let you guys know, we have an additional member to our team in the transportation. We have our driver, and this is Leslie Morales. If everybody wants to turn and wave. I told her she didn't have to talk, but just to come so you guys saw who she was. So you'll see her around the community. She just joined us this week. So if people were wondering who she was or saw her face, that's Leslie. So she'll be one of our drivers. She'll be working with Scott, and our other driver is Hope Den. Moving on to transportation. Our transportation requests have been coming in maybe about 30 minutes or an hour before their appointment. And we can't accommodate all the transportation. And I know I've been bringing it up at the State of Castle. And I've been meeting with Tyler a little bit, but we really have to work on that 48-hour notice so that we can make sure that we have our resources in place, as well as make sure that you get to your appointments on time. That's really crucial for our department to make sure that you have the transportation that you need. And that's something that you guys have worked with in the past to have that policy in place. So we are looking at making sure that the policy is in place, and that if we look at charging, some people have heard that if you give a notice under 48 hours, you may not be able to get your ride, or you may be charged. Well, we're looking at the specifics on that, and we will be letting you guys know what that policy is going to look like. We're also looking at the radius. Making sure that some of your appointments are closer. We are having a lot of appointments that are a lot further away, but we want to make sure that you are getting the transportation needs that you have. Is there any questions regarding transportation? There'll be more information and more detail coming out shortly. Is there anything else you want me to add? All right. PS Salon. We have added a stylist. She will be starting soon as possibly today. They were working on which days she's going to be doing. So the hours have changed. So you will see that reflected in the activity book up front. You'll see it in the elevators. You'll see it by the mailroom. That there'll be 3 days that you'll have opportunity to have the stylist make appointments for you. So those times are posted. The days are posted. But I just want to review what the process is. And the process is going to the front. There's a binder where the activity book is, and it'll say PS Salon. Write your name on that list if you're interested in booking an appointment. Then the stylist will call you back and make that appointment with you. and then you'll come down for your appointment. But I just want to make sure that you guys know where that binder, where that list is, and not just to come down to the salon. We've had some residents come to the door, and as they're working, they have to stop what they're doing with that resident. But we want to make sure that we are working on the same process. Any questions regarding the process with the PS Salon? No? We will be having an open house with PS Salon coming up, and it's October 6th at 1 to 3. You can meet our stylist, you can talk with our stylist. They have some giveaways, some cookies, and just a nice time to kind of meet and greet who we're working with or who's going to be in our community doing our stylist and salon. If you want to get your nails done, you can ask them any questions. I know there's a lot of questions that have been floating around, so you'll be able to ask them straight on about those services. Any questions about the open house? Okay. Soon, next Monday, Rita will be starting her Listen and Learn lecture. And Rita, what is the title that you gave your lecture?
2 years in Nigeria, adventure to Civil War.
Could you guys hear her? So she spent time in Nigeria during the Civil War time, and she's going to speak on that. She's actually broke it out into 2 parts. So this Monday is going to be the first part, and then the following Monday in October, it'll be the second part. So if you haven't gone to some of the lectures that have been given by residents, they're really good. It also provides, Lauren's been starting that series, but then has been connecting with different residents to help provide a slideshow or pictures and get that going. I know Lynn and David had done theirs as well. Dale Snyder has been doing teaching on the prairie, so if you've attended his course, that's still happening. So plug into some of the things that the residents are doing. I know that's been a really big hit among the residents. Last thing is I actually have my calendar over there. Pastor Harold is doing a pet blessing. So if you're interested in doing the pet blessing, he wanted me to put that out there. You can touch base with him. That's going to be that first Monday in October. That's all I have. Any questions for me? And I will welcome up Mike Brever.
Thank you, Stacy. I just have a couple of things today. First of all, on a personal note, if any of you are concerned about side effects from your 3rd booster, I'm getting mine tonight at 6:15 at Walgreens. Look me up tomorrow, and if I look well, you will too. So check me out tomorrow. You'll find out that it's fine.
What if you don't show up tomorrow?
Yeah.
I live at 480. I'd like to thank Kathy Johnson for bringing up the Employee Appreciation Fund. You will be receiving a letter on your ledges tomorrow from Joanne Kauff announcing the kickoff of the campaign. It's going to end on November 30th this year. The reason for that is we have to have all the funds in a week before the payroll, which is the last payroll before the Christmas holiday. So the staff will receive it like on the 9th or the 10th or something like that, and accounting needs that time. So it kicks off tomorrow, and it will go until December 1st, November 30th, something like that. The letter that you receive will indicate that there will be a blue box on the reception desk in the fireplace room. That's probably true, but it may not be true. If there's not room on that reception desk, look in the fireplace room. We will have a sign next to the blue box, and it'll be there. If you don't see it right on the desk, just, turn around. It'll be in that room, and you'll be able to make your donation. For those of you that prefer to choose another option, we will take credit cards and debit cards as well. I ask you to please come and see me for that. Your contribution is confidential. How much you give is between you and myself. And so come and see me if you choose to use a credit card. We also take cash. You can put it in the blue box. If you do that, put it in an envelope with your name on it. Otherwise, I can't give you credit for it on your charitable letter at the end of the year. Your donation for the Employee Appreciation Fund is tax deductible. So if you're going to give cash, make sure that I know that it came from you. Your resident council, and this is detailed in the letter, your resident council recommends a suggested contribution of $10 per person per week. So if there's one of you in the apartment, 520 is suggested. If there's two of you, 1,040. Be aware it's a free will offering. You're not going to be evicted if you don't do that. Last year, the range of contributions was $25 on the low end and $7,000 on the high end. It's a broad range that people donate, and as a result of that, I ask you to give what you're able and what you're comfortable giving. Any donation is greatly appreciated. Last year we raised about $65,000, and as I say, the smallest gift we got last year was $25. It all adds up over time because of the volume. If everybody gives, we reach an amount that we're looking for. I thank Joanne Kauth for that, drafting the letter. Again, it'll be on your ledge tomorrow, and it will be the official kickoff of the campaign. Last week, Friday, we had, yes?
Can I just say, Mike is talking about this, but this is a resident activity. I mean, it's a resident created, and Mike helps us with the nitty gritty, all of that kind of stuff. But this is a resident. The administration here is in no way involved with us actually doing this fund.
Thank you.
But
I mean, that's a valid point.
Yeah.
I'm involved in that. I prepare the tax letters for all of you at the end of the year. And, someone has to be the conduit between you and the accounting department so that it gets tracked. But yes, this is a resident-driven process. Yes?
And for those who are new, this goes to the hourly workers, right?
That is correct. This goes to the hourly employees, full and part-time. If you've worked an entire year, it's complicated, but you get 4 shares. Part-time for half a year or part-time for a full year is 2 shares. It's prorated, but all hourly employees get something. Last year, the typical full-time hourly employee received a bonus that was equal to an extra week's pay. They get that the last paycheck before Christmas, which is a wonderful time to receive a bonus that you weren't necessarily expecting. And again, if you were eating out in a restaurant, you probably would tip the waiter. If someone came and repaired something on your house, you might provide a gratuity to the people. If someone drove you somewhere, you might provide a tip. All of that, according to our membership or resident policies, aren't allowed. This is your one opportunity a year. So thank you, Kathy, for bringing that up, and thank you, Joel, for bringing that up. Yes, Sandra?
Do I understand that this year we're going to start also, and maybe we have in the past, getting those letters out to both assisted and memory?
Actually, that decision has not been made, and
Actually, it has, but I haven't gotten to it yet.
I'm going to let Kathy explain that later then. Do you want me to just go into it now?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
In assisted living, in skilled nursing, in rehab, in memory care, there are ethics involved in who you approach and how you approach and why you approach. And vulnerable people at a vulnerable time in their life aren't the people that we typically reach out to. So assisted living, memory care, skilled nursing, those aren't the target audience for this. Now, because this will be widely promoted, if family members approach us and say, we're really grateful for the care that our family member receives and choose to contribute, we will do so. We'll gratefully accept it. And that will be included, and whoever the donor was will receive a letter from me at the end of the year as well. Okay? All right. Moving on, we did have our scholarship award ceremony last Friday for the treasure chest. To refresh everybody's memory, we had 10 scholarships this year. We gave away a little bit over 10,000 last Friday. We have 3 more that will be awarded in January. For those of you that were looking forward to the ceremony and you never heard about it, I apologize. There are about 30 of you that are treasure chest volunteers. I distributed flyers to the volunteers. The flyers indicated that everybody was welcome. I erroneously felt that word would spread. So those of you who didn't receive a flyer because you aren't a regular volunteer, rest assured, I know that the buyers, the donors, the volunteers, all are part of the triangle that makes the treasure chest a success here at East Castle Place. And I apologize if you were overlooked. That was on me. Now that I've said that, to you treasure chest volunteers and to new people who might be interested, our October schedule of volunteers is really devoid of filling every spot. I think we've got about 15 openings here. This is in the front lobby in a 3-ring binder. If you're able to volunteer, please fill out your name in here. If you've never volunteered before, maybe you could talk to a regular volunteer and ask if you could work on the same day they're working, just to see how it feels, and then maybe you become a regular volunteer. All are welcome, and it's relatively simple. You just got to put those beautiful smiles on your face and tell people that they really need to buy whatever it is we got. Last but not least, I'm here to tell you, we've gotten a ton of new stuff in the treasure chest over the last 2 weeks. If you're looking for some really nice items, a variety of things, and great prices, come on down. We're open tomorrow from 10 to noon. Mondays we're open from 2 to 4. I invite you. It's going to be, it's an amazing array of things we have down there right now. Any questions from any? Yes?
Those of us who did not know about the ceremony, is there any way we can find out who received the scholarships?
The information was given to the people who put out the newsletter, the Castle Connections. Is that what it? No, what is it?
The regular newsletter, which will come out on November 1st, but what I'll do is I'll type that up, I'll put it on the bulletin board in the mail room and on the elevators.
Okay, all right. Thank you, Joe.
I don't have anything else to do, so.
I appreciate that. Thank you very much. And again, I apologize to those of you who wanted to come. It was my oversight. I thought news would spread, and it didn't spread as far as I thought it would, and I'm sorry. Any other questions? Then Majarka Ford Ziegelbauer is our next speaker. I love that.
Thanks, Mike.
You're welcome.
Hello. So yesterday we saw a few of you. So it is our kind of yearly time to kind of update everybody on the dining program. I believe 2 years ago we switched to the flexible dining program. Last year there were a few small changes of going to either 400 points or 600 points from either the higher amounts that there were. So it is time this year that if you wish to change your points, you are able to do so. So every year, starting in November, you have the option to move from 400 points to 600 points, or opposite, move from 600 points to 400 points. That is able to be done once a year. This year, we will kind of allow a maybe 6 months change after construction is completed, so we can kind of utilize all of the new dining spaces that we have. So if you are interested in changing your points, we do have a form in the back that you guys can pick up. You simply just have to select which plan you would like to be on. I need that form back by October 15th so we can make the right changes in our system and for billing. And then that new point plan for you will start in November on whichever day your points reset. So if you're the later part of the alphabet, that wouldn't start to you until the end of November. But if you're the first part of the alphabet, it would start right away on November 1st. Any questions with points? Yes, Mrs. Woodard.
Do Dave and I both have to do the same thing?
Correct, you do. Couples or a household have to be on the same plan. So you either would have 800 points for the two of you or 1,200 points for the two of you. Yes, this is.
If we're happy with where we are.
If you're happy with where you are, there's nothing that needs to be completed. So if you're good where you're at, no need to contact myself at all, just those looking to change. I know recently we've had a lot of questions about can I change, when can I change, so this would be the time if you want to adjust your plan that we can go ahead and do that for you. Yes, Mrs. Heckel?
Other than ease of accounting, what is the reason it has to be 2 at 800 or 2 at 4, or whatever it is?
Just how our system is set up. So if you were to call and place an order tonight, I don't necessarily know if I am charging you or Mr. Heckel. So if you call and place everything for yourself, the server might put everything underneath your name. So it just makes it complicated if the same household is on different plans, because then it's much difficult from a tracking standpoint of who had the glass of wine tonight, who had the extra dessert, and things like that. Any other questions at all? No? All right, and then Tyler is up next.
And I'll just take that one question a little bit further. So you know that if you're at 400 or 600 and you start to go over, it's $1 per point, right? And so the system is going to say, well, Mrs. Hackle's at 405 points. Well, Mr. Hackle might be at 500. Mr. and Mrs. Hackle are still getting charged an additional $5 because Mrs. Hackle's at 400 points. Does that make sense? So that's why from an accounting, tracking, confusion, all of the above, that's why we're having to have the households either be at 600 both or 400 both. But we have made the accommodation based on yesterday's meeting about re-looking at the program after about 6 months, because in 6 months, believe it or not, we'll have everything done in this first floor. And I say that pretty confidently as construction continues. So that leads me right into the segue of construction update. Look at that. All right. 2 construction resident questions about constructions. Can residents get a tour of Bradford when it is finished? Absolutely. So right now we're tentatively scheduled for inspection in the middle of October for that first and second floor. That's with the city. That means that they're done, meaning that their inspection, they have to be at a point where the city gives us the opportunity to occupy the space. Obviously, there's going to be punch lists. Obviously, there's going to be the details that will still need to get worked out. Tentatively, we are going to have a grand opening for that space October 26th. Now, that is tentative. That is the first that a couple of us are hearing about that. But that's where we should have occupancy, certificate of occupancy. We may not have licensure yet for that space because there are 2 separate processes where we have to work with the state for the license. And most likely there won't be residents moved into that space yet because, again, we need to get licensed prior to moving residents. That will be your opportunity to get a full tour of that space. And then well after that, at any given time, you will also be able to get in that space. At that same time, you're going to see myself and a number of the directors that are here today moving back over to Bradford Terrace and vacating our temporary, wonderful apartments over on the first floor of Water Tower back to reality. I'm not sure if I'm quite ready for that because there are some conveniences that come with the apartments, but nonetheless, we'll all have brand new offices. So we'll make sure we update you as time gets closer, and we will definitely make sure that you see that space. The other one is, do your plans for the Water Tower building include a larger and faster elevator? Unfortunately, no. The speed of the elevators is something that I think we're going to look at from a contractor standpoint. The largeness of elevators, if anybody's gone through construction and what it has to do with existing elevators and elevator shafts and all the fun that comes along with them, we are not touching those. But hopefully if there's some mechanicals within the current functional space of those elevators, we can do something about that. So just a few other updates regarding construction. We've talked about some dates and some times. So again, November 15th is kind of the target for the dining room to be open. This week, you'll see a lot of drywall. That's why you can't see into the dining room from one of the windows, because there is now drywall in that place. But November 15th, we are planning, that's what we shared yesterday. We'll be working closely with your food and beverage committee. I don't anticipate that day one, we're gonna invite every single resident to come on down right at 5:30 to say, let's have at it, because that will be a nightmare. So we will work through that with resident volunteers and things of that nature, go through some soft openings. Obviously, there's some operational things that Majarka and Tanya and the team are gonna have to get used to and work through. So as we said yesterday, your patience and understanding as we work through that. But November 15th right now is the target date for getting back into the main dining room. And then I know Kathy mentioned Lindsay Hall, when that will be shut down. That is scheduled for December 6th. December 6th is when Lindsay Hall will be shut down. December 6th is a Tuesday. December 4th is the anticipated Christmas at the Castle. So I know that much more will be had about what Christmas at the Castle looks like this year. Obviously, it looks a little bit different because we won't have our full functioning space. I know the pickles were pickled on Saturday, so that's exciting. And that tradition will continue. But again, I think between Stacy, Mike, the resident council, and I'm sure a subcommittee of sorts from the Christmas at the Castle, we are planning a Christmas sing-along. We are not going to be doing a Christmas concert this year, but rather a Christmas sing-along. That again will be December 4th. It's a Sunday. And then December 6th, Lindsay Hall will be shut down. I'm hoping that there's a separate schedule that we can get Lindsay Hall back up as soon as possible, because otherwise things just get really, really interesting after the holidays on where we're all going to meet. So more details to come, but just want to start floating those dates out, as I know that has been a request in the past. Can we get some certain dates? So again, October of 26 will tentatively be the grand opening for Bradford Terrace. November 15th for the main dining room, and then December 6th will be Lindsay Hall. Obviously, there's a lot of different things in between there, and I'll do my best to keep everybody informed of when that happens. The other note, since I have you right now, the vestibule area of Bradford Terrace and the Bradford Terrace lobby. You may see a note that area might be shut down, and right now I'm potentially anticipating up to 2 weeks. The reason for that is there's work that needs to be done both mechanically and electrically in the vestibule area itself. So that area would have to be shut down regardless. So rather than shutting just that area down and having the lobby past the elevators open, if we give them that entire space up to the Bradford Terrace elevators, and we have staff and residents and visitors walking around to the Circle Drive, they can get in there uninterrupted and be able to turn that space back over to us completely finished, as opposed to walking through a partially construction zone and things of that nature. It's a safer thing to do for you, as well as it's a more time-effective solution for the construction company. So I would anticipate that within the next 2 weeks. I asked them for at minimum 72 hours notice, and I said it cannot be a Friday at 5 where you start on Monday at 8. So I did put that in there. That will be something that, again, if it doesn't take 2 weeks, we will open it up well before that. They know kind of that time frame. I'll have a meeting with Pete and Jordan here probably tomorrow to get a better idea of that. But again, that is really towards the end of construction. You'll see finished spaces. You'll see the new carpeting and tile work and walls and things of that nature. So when that gets reopened, it will be, you know, what we can start to see and anticipate as the project progresses. That was a lot of construction updates. I have not stolen, I believe, all of CG Schmidt's thunder, that they will be providing their own construction update tomorrow. That I believe is at 2 p.m. right back here in Lindsay Hall. Jordan and Pete from CG Schmidt will be here to provide you the in-depth insight into the construction that they are doing. I think they'll have some more information about what's going on in our courtyard. Any questions about construction? Yes, Sandra.
Completion date, third floor.
Thank you. I knew I was going to miss something. As soon as you raised your hand, I was like, shoot, I missed it. Thank you. Third floor. So if you didn't know, third floor, our memory support neighborhood is going through some really large renovations as well, including paint, flooring, a brand new dining room. The brand new dining room will be turned back over to us on Monday. So they've hit their schedule. They're hoping that maybe it was going to be Friday. I checked in with Pete right before this. He needs that full day on Friday and then just to clean up over the weekend. So then we will transition everything back into the dining room. And then Tuesday night, Lindsay, you'll be getting a memo on this for those of you that have loved ones on the third floor today or tomorrow morning about what the schedule looks like. But then they have to redo the flooring in the center area, the last remaining, and that will be done overnight. So again, look for a memo. But the dining room will be turned back over on Monday. The new activity space will be turned over with the inspection that is scheduled for mid-October with the rest of Bradford Terrace. The city did not want to come out for just a single area. They needed the full gamut, so that's where that will be turned over to us in the mid-October range, along with that last half of the third floor. Again, you'll be receiving a memo by tomorrow morning, midday at the latest, with more of those details if you have a loved one on the third floor. Shirley.
Incredibly noisy now.
The noise will be done by Friday at 5. Shirley.
What are the plans for guest rooms?
So the question is, what are the plans for guest rooms? The plan for guest rooms is to be determined, but most likely what will happen is there will be a room, a studio, much like what we have right now in Water Tower. It will be in Bradford Terrace. So it'll be 1 to 2 rooms in Bradford Terrace. We have 2 rooms right now. We've had 2 rooms, potentially 3 rooms my entire time here in 5 years. So 2 is kind of what we would anticipate. Any other construction related questions? Otherwise, I just want to give everybody an update. This week we celebrated our employees from East Castle Place. And so Jen McHugh, our Director of Human Resources, along with the director team, are really recognizing and showing appreciation for all the efforts that our employees do day in and day out. So tomorrow you'll see a number of team members wearing their brand new East Castle Place tie-dye t-shirts. We catered in noodles for them for first, second, and third shift yesterday. The directors did a nice little video yesterday that was sent out. And then tomorrow at 1:30, you're going to see a number of East Castle Place staff in the Circle Drive in the formation of ECP to take a team picture. So it's really been just a fun week to celebrate our staff for all their efforts. We do this every year. It's one of my favorite weeks. And it's just something that, again, I know a number of you have written a note in support throughout the year or this week. Do know that anytime we receive those notes of gratitude or whenever an employee is recognized, we have an extraordinary rewards program that we give them points. They can use those points for different prizes and different things, including up to a Disney trip if they accumulate enough. But again, the appreciation that you show for the employees also is recognized, so thank you for that. with that, that ends the agenda as written, but I will be open to any and all questions. Lynn?
This just popped into my head. Would it ever be possible to have a fast walk-through tour of the kitchen to see the facility that puts out these amazing meals?
A kitchen tour, I think, is what is being requested. So if you didn't hear that, I think the Lynn was requesting just how does the food get prepared? What kind of space do they have? What do they get to work with? And so that's something that I'll chat with Majarka on. I know we've done them in the past. So again, it's just something we want to make sure we coordinate, and obviously it'll be a very limited number because the space is a little bit tighter back there, especially because we have some construction going on.
Between 5 p.m. and 6:30.
In between 5 and 6:30. We're not doing anything. Yeah, we'll just leave the door open for you and self-guided tour, and then put on the apron and the hairnet, and then, you know, just feel free. We won't have to staff as much that night, so just let me know, we'll coordinate. Yes, Ms. Lumber.
It was going to be a virtual one during COVID, and that never happened.
There was going to be a virtual one, wasn't there? Well, we can now do a virtual and potentially an in-person as well. So I will talk with Majarka, see if we can't get that on the agenda for the Food and Beverage Committee, and show kind of what is going on back in the kitchen. Any other questions? If not, is there anybody here that this is their first stay of the castle? Anyone? And you are, sir? What, your name?
Ravinder.
Okay, welcome. It's nice to have you. So with that, is there any other questions? If not, thank you everybody. Enjoy the first day of fall. Packers have a big game on Sunday. The Badgers might have a bigger one on Saturday. Joe.
This Packer game will be here with snacks and drinks. After that, we will be doing Packer games up in the meeting room on Water Tower 1.
Okay. So if you didn't hear that, the Packer game this Sunday at 3:25 against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, or the Tampa Bay Buccaneers if you're a Tom Brady fan. That's no joke. No. All right, we'll just pretend that didn't happen. Is in here with snacks and drinks. And then moving forward, the Packer games will be broadcasted in the Water Tower lobby on the Sundays or Sunday nights. And then if there's I think we have a Thursday night game here. We'll probably do the Thursday night game in Lindsay Hall and do snacks and things of that nature right after dinner. So, all right. Well, thank you, everybody. Enjoy the rest of your afternoon. Thank you.